In 1947, Robinson became Major League Baseball's first black player. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Drop that.
You like your style, guy?
At KBLA Talk 1580, we are unapologetic about amplifying the voices of those who have historically been left out of the conversation. As we approach our third anniversary this summer, the problem with talk radio in Southern California specifically, and America more broadly, is virtually unchanged. All day, all night, all white. We make no apologies for our prime audience, but true to the best of our tradition, we're committed to expanding justice and freedom for all. So when we receive messages from listeners like Neil, we just smile.
I realize that I'm not your target demographic, but I love listening to your station as it is the only progressive station on the dial.
That's us. Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough.
I wanna love you. I want to love and treat you right. I wanna love you every day and every night. We'll be together. The roof over our heads will share the shelter. I'm not single, but is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling?
KBLA Talk 1580. So excited. Yes, it's raining hard out there. It's like a whole monsoon. But we'll be talking shortly with Corrine Bailey Rae, God willing. Can we just get a little break in the clouds here? She's got a new album. That one right there got her a Grammy. It's just really one of the artists that I actually listen to a lot. So I'm looking forward to the conversation. Meanwhile, Byron Allen is on a tear, right? He is trying to buy Paramount Global, all the rest of their shares. He bid $14.3 billion. And apparently he is serious about that. The Byron Allen Media Group and its strategic partners want to buy all of Paramount Global's outstanding shares, according to a statement released by Allen's spokesperson. This is in the Griot today. It's $30 billion total when you include debt and equity. Wow. Byron Allen is more or less a force of nature in business right now. I mean, he's been a tough negotiating, hard charging business person. He hasn't been afraid to use the courts to give him, an equal playing field. And I'm just consistently amazed by how audacious he is. He says he would keep Paramount's television business, the streaming service, and sell off some of the other things. He's got the financing lined up and ready to go. Remember, he was trying to get BET, and that didn't happen, even though he submitted a $3.5 million offer along with a group there. And now he's like, oh, you don't want to sell me BET? I'll just get the parent company of BET. That's baller. I don't think anybody needs to be a billionaire, and I think we should stop hoarding resources, and we should all have the basics in life that we need. But you gotta love this. Remember the $10 billion he tried to get ABC, and Walt Disney said, "We're not even selling. We weren't even trying to sell. Quit making us offers. Go away, black man." I think and you remember all the conspiracies and thoughts people had about Bill Cosby trying to get NBC, which, I can't confirm or deny. I haven't done a deep dive in research on that. I know that they make it awfully hard they being corporate America, makes it awfully hard for black individuals to buy media of any kind. We can start with KBLA. It's almost like you have to be a superhero. You have to be a Stevie Wonder to you buy a KJLH. You have to be a Tavis Smiley to buy a KBLA 1580. Like you or I, the average black American who happen to have millions of dollars in investors, probably would have a much harder time overcoming those hurdles because, I've watched it, right? I worked for Stevie for almost 17 years and watch what it took for him to maintain that. And the fact that we're blessed here in this market to have two major black-owned outlets, but only one black talk radio this side of the Mississippi. It's not a coincidence that we don't get to shape the narrative, that we don't get to be in control of how our stories are told. And it's not a coincidence that these billionaires do feel that, I'll just go ahead and buy the Washington Post, the LA Times, which end up being sort of source material for a lot of the other media, whether it's online or whether it's on radio, on TV. A lot of them are driven by what is written by those newspaper publishers. That's why when I see the strife, like the labor strife at the LA Times and the perishing of print media because people are getting their news from TikTok and Instagram and such, I feel strongly that we, the media that are not print, should be paying some kind of small royalty, almost like a BMI or ASCAP situation, to keep those newspapers afloat because we rely on them. And those tech companies should be paying a larger royalty, i.e. what Canada is making Facebook do. Speaking of Mark Zuckerberg, an apology is nice. I hope those families felt happy to get that, but I'm sure, they would be a lot happier to see some real action, some money invested in resources to help children, some real kinds of crackdowns on the kind of exploitation, attacks, the deep fakes, and all this stuff that is going on online. I just find it incredibly rich that someone like Josh Hawley, all these Republicans who want to deregulate everything and let the markets, the free, even though it's not a free market because we have corporate welfare, they want them to just be able to do whatever they want unregulated. But it must be a grandstanding week because they're all up there yelling at the head of TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, which of course are owned by the same, and Snap and all that. But they don't want to put regulations in place. They don't want to give the FCC meaningful teeth so that they can enforce any of this stuff. They just want to get up there and say, we care about their children, your children, beat their chest, yell at the tech folks, and then do nothing to make meaningful change, meaningful accountability. You are news organizations. You are publishing news articles, and you're being seen as a source. So you have to have the same responsibilities that any other news vendor has. Corrine Bailey Rae is next. She's got a new album, and it is a whole journey. Pack a suitcase. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyaudio.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyaudio.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
No, I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
You can do it all by yourself, baby girl. What's your name? Let me talk to you. Let me buy you a drink.
Spilled your drink? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading ordinary brand. So you can get back to your night. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-DO.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
Ladies, don't you long for love? Be irresistible with a brighter, attractive beauty everybody admires. Soft hair that invites his caress. Attract, arouse, tantalize, and draw from him a hello, beautiful. He will follow you with his eyes. That's the promise of the potion that I buy. I've been spending all my money to get mine. Who will follow me with his eyes? All those girls in magazines, they make it seem so simple, make me believe it. Help yourself to love and white rose cold cream. Then he'll follow you with his eyes.
KBLA Talk 1580. I'm excited. That is from the new album, Black Rainbow. Black Rainbow's Corrine Bailey Rae. She's a Grammy-award winner. She is a songwriter, singer, guitar player, and you might not know this, but researcher. So excited to have you in the studio, Corrine Bailey Rae. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I mean, it's pouring out there. You guys are really dedicated to make it here this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, so you and you just picked up an award. You scooped up an award last night. Congratulations. I think it's the first time they've done this award, moving the needle, focusing on women creators.
Yeah, that's right. It's focusing on women producers and engineers, so women on the other side of the glass. There are a lot of female artists, but of the big songs last year, you know, all the records that were released last year, whether they're singles or albums, it was only 6% that were produced or women were credited as being producers and engineers. So there's a big gap in terms of women working behind the glass, and so the organisation is supporting young people who are coming through and all the people who are doing really well, you know, raising their profile. The women who've mixed really high profile records this year and are going to be Grammy nominated, and so it was really good to be in that room with, you know, Linda Perry and Alanis Morissette and all these big Emily Lazar and all these big engineers and producers and writers, and I won the award, the Harmonizer Award, which is part of the Resonator Awards, the first time they've had it this year.
And you produced on your own album, this new one.
Yes, I did. I was a co-producer, and I produce all my records. You know, I really enjoy it. I like to be in the mix. I like to decide what happens with the instruments. That was always my background, you know, being in a band. I always like to arrange and decide what's the bass doing, what's the guitar doing, what's the BVs doing, what are the drums doing. That to me is so much of the fun. You know, writing the song is just the start of it, and it can go in so many different directions. So I really enjoy that.
And this is your fourth
yeah, this
studio
is my
album, right?
my fourth album. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, and so you kind of busted on the scene, best new artist. You had the Grammy, you know, nominations. I remember I first heard about you when I was working for Stevie Wonder at the time, and he was just so smitten with your voice and your songwriting. You know, he was the one telling me to listen to
Wow.
you. So I did, and I've been listening ever since. But you're not a person that you're not super predictable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I really like to be that way, you know. I think freedom is really important to me, musical freedom. And, you know, with my first record, I had come out of an indie guitar band. I'd started working at this jazz and soul club and being introduced and reintroduced to all this amazing music and started to write in this different style. And so my first record was a really soulful record. And then the second record was much more of a guitar-based album. And I just feel like with music, I never want to be boxed in, and there's so much I love and so much I like to do. So that's important for me to just follow my heart in those matters.
I mean, even watching, you know, some of the videos and stuff, you seem like a whimsical person.
Yeah, I think so. I feel really drawn, you know, music, it comes from that word, the muse, you know, what inspires you, what pulls you out, what draws you out. And that is my relationship with it. You know, I haven't ever been a sort of artist that's thinking about putting out a product and staying in a lane and
having a brand.
Yeah, all of that stuff. I feel it's so unnatural to me, and also it doesn't suit me. I don't feel myself to be that kind of performer. I feel like I can only do it if it's real and if it's honest, and you know, I'm not a showbiz kind of person. You know, I really just like to do my thing, whatever that is, at any given time.
How do you think that changes the game for you? What I mean by that, like, I feel like when some people come out with a big debut and a lot of sort of hype, whether it's generated by you or not, it can put them in a position where they do feel like they have to do the same thing over and over again, or there's some huge expectation. And this, you know, not just this album, I feel like I'm reading these articles about you and they're always saying, she's reinvented herself again, Corrine Bailey. It's like, that's like the standard thing that they write about you every time. She's reinvented herself.
Yeah, I think eventually people will maybe realize this is just me and I have these different facets to what I do. But I do agree there is a lot of pressure, you know, when you come out. I was overjoyed at all the focus on my first record, and it wasn't the first thing I'd made. Like you say, I was in this indie band before. It was all girls and my boyfriend at the time. We had a record deal. It didn't work out. Our bass player had a baby when she was really young. And we were so naive. We just thought, oh yeah, we'll be able to carry on. And, you know, it'll be cool. She'd be a bass player on stage with this bump. And we were just kind of feminist riot girls. And the label that we're signing to was not made up of feminist riot girls. And so so the phone stopped ringing, basically, you know. So we got this deal kind of taken, like, I guess it just evaporated, you know. I was at university at the time, so I went back and finished my course and then just carried on, and you know, the band kind of crumbled and I carried on writing songs, trying to get somewhere, going to London all the time. I'm from Leeds, which is 200 miles north of London. Just trying to get somewhere, working with all these different producers, and I ended up with this collection of songs that became my first record. So we would just go to labels and I would take out my guitar and I would play like a star. And I would show them my demos, and either they got it or they just completely didn't get it. You know, at the time there wasn't anything really that sounded like that. So
no,
they were trying to work it out. It's like, it's soul, but it's not R&B, and it's not slick, but it's guitars, but it's not in. Like, they just couldn't work it out all. But then I found EMI, and they just, you know, really got it. And then we found some people there that we could be friends with, and it was great because I was able to. They just put some strings. We put our strings on, but they paid for the strings, you know. And then the album was finished, and then from there on, you know, it really took off, which I was thrilled about. And then I guess with my second record, I wanted to do something different too, and I just kept moving in that way.
Yeah, but before that, you sang in church, and you know, and you studied violin. I mean, it sounds like the music has been part of you.
Yeah, always. I've always really loved music. I played violin when I was a child. You know, at our school, all the children sang, and then all the children played recorder. And then I think
they do that here.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they don't do it in England anymore, but there was much more of a budget for arts, I think, when I was growing up, which was so important that everyone has access to, you know, everyone gets to let out their musical spirit, because all children are musical. And I think all the kids who were, you know, doing well on the recorder, you got to choose which instrument you wanted to play. So I got offered flute, clarinet, cello, and violin. And I really liked the cello, but we didn't have a car at the time.
Ah.
So the cello was going to be impossible. So I chose the mini cello, the violin cello. And I used to love that. Carry it to school and then carry it on the handlebars of my bicycle when I used to ride to school. But I loved the violin. I loved being in orchestras and having a small part to play, learning that part, not really understanding the context, and then being in a group with 40 or 50 or 60 other children and finding my space within that did a lot to me. It made me feel at home. I found my identity through music and a way of expressing myself. I was a really shy kid, but music and performing was the way I could kind of feel comfortable.
And we just got a couple minutes before news, traffic, and sports. We'll continue on the other side, but performing is where you are now. You're actually on a tour, and folks can come see you in L.A., you're in San Francisco, you're in San Diego, you're all over the state of California to kick off Black History Month.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so this is the next stage of the Black Rainbows Tour. We started it last year and we played on the East Coast and down south. But yes, we're playing San Francisco Jazz Festival and we're playing at the Performing Arts Theatres around California.
At the Wallace on the 6th, here in Los Angeles, where we're broadcasting from on the 7th, the Observatory in San Diego. That sounds nice. Santa Cruz, the Rio Theater on February 9th. Man, you're moving.
Yeah, I love it. I really do. I mean, the last tour we did, we just, you get on the tour bus, you do the show, you go to sleep, you wake up in a new place. We were just in Europe, so we toured all over Europe, and Spain and Portugal. And then I went to Macau and China and the Philippines as well. So
how was that?
It was beautiful.
People are singing along?
People are singing along. It was my first ever time that I've been in the Philippines, so I've wanted to go there a really long time, and then just to be there, and it's all these people, they're singing along in their second or third language, all different people who knew my music when they were children, who've grown up, and then people who were adults and are now grown. But it was amazing to meet all these Filipino young people and just know that they know the records. It was great.
Yeah, we start out with "Follow You with His Eyes," and we're gonna hear more from the album. Also, want to talk about it more. Where you are with it. You've spoken on this. How it was kind of inspired by your deep dive into Black history, which today's the first day of Black History Month. So we'll look at all of that when we come forward. We're talking with Corrine Bailey Rae on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
We thank you for joining us on the Black Information Network. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest. 3 people are dead, 9 others are injured, some of them critically after a building collapsed in Idaho. Cops say a 39,000 square foot steel hangar that was under construction near the Boise airport collapsed Wednesday, leading to multiple victims. The company building the hangar said dozens of people were working on the site. Authorities aren't sure yet what caused the building to collapse. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is warning of a syphilis resurgence nationwide with the highest number of cases since 1950. The CDC says more than 207,000 syphilis cases were reported in the U.S. in 2022, an 80% increase since 2018. Black people and Native Americans are the most impacted groups. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers got another road win last night. They won by 16 at Washington. 31 points from Kawhi Leonard. James Harden dropped 25. The Clippers are now 16 games over 500 and have the 3rd best record in the Western Conference. The Lakers are at Boston tonight. They need a win to get back to 500. 4:30 tip-off on TNT. The GoFundMe drive to build a new statue for Jackie Robinson in Wichita, Kansas has surpassed $100,000. $140,000. The goal of $150,000 appears to be in reach. City officials want to build a new statue of Robinson to replace the one that was stolen on Saturday and destroyed. Robinson's statue was on display at McAdams Park in Wichita, home of League 42, a youth baseball league named in Robinson's honor. In 1947, Robinson became Major League Baseball's first black player. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe we have the best tag team in morning radio. Dominique DiPrima and Tavis Smiley. As the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show, Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DiPrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah.
On your period, sudden gushes happen without warning. But now, you can say goodbye to stand-up gush fears, thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology. It absorbs gushes 2 times faster than the leading store brand and gives you up to 100% leak-free protection. Hello, clean and comfortable with Always Fear No Gush.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
Just like a star across my sky, just like an angel off the page, you have appeared to my life. Feel like I'll never be the same. Just like a song in my heart, just like oil on my hands, only to love you. Still I wonder why it is I don't argue like this with anyone but you.
KBLA Talk 1580. I love that line. I don't argue like this. Did you ever imagine, I mean, this is a huge hit for you, that it would be in everybody's movie?
No, I had no idea of that. I think when you write a song, you just... with this one, I feel like it really just came out of nowhere, and I'd been learning these kind of more jazzy chords, and that, you know, that's me playing guitar, and I can hear like how tricky it is under my fingers. You know, I love, you can hear the guitar neck creaking and all those things. But yeah, I remember being in this house and no one else was in, and just this stuff coming out, or these words coming out. I hadn't thought about them ahead of time. And I remember just quickly write it down, you know. So it really felt like it just flowed through. But yeah, you never know what's going to happen with the song. That's what I love about it. You don't know who's going to connect with it. You talk to people on the street. People walk down the aisle to this song, or they've had their baby to this song. They've fallen out with a partner. They've met a new person. You know, they've had brain surgery. Like, honestly, anything you can imagine, people have told me about. So I just feel so happy that the music is useful. You know, that's really important.
Sure. You're one of the only artists that I can work out to their slow jams in the gym and still lift weights. Like, rah.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's good.
But this new album, Black Rainbows, it really is, I said it's a whole journey.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of different styles. There's a lot of different voices of you, stories. And you say all of this was inspired when you went to the Stony Island Arts Bank in Chicago.
That's right. I was on tour in Chicago. I knew about this building and I knew about this artist, the Astor Gates, this visual artist who had saved this old bank. It's 100 years old. Saved it from demolition. It was going to be pulled down. It's in the south side of Chicago, which is a challenged area. It's a economically deprived area. I mean, this is your country, so I'm sure you know about the south side of Chicago, right? But in the middle of this place is this huge building which used to be a bank, and now it's like a cathedral to black art. So it has 26,000 books in, which were all the books that were submitted to the Johnson Publishing Company, who did Jet Magazine and Ebony Magazine. So if you were a writer and you wanted to get reviewed in Jet or Ebony, you would send the books to the Johnsons. So you can imagine how many books they collected and the vast array of subjects that these books were on. But also they sponsored PhDs for black writers and MAs for black writers. So there's all this academic work. Then there's all the Ebonies and Jets that were ever made, all catalogued. And then upstairs in the building, there's a collection called the Ed Williams Collection, which was put together by this black and Chinese banker. They're groups of problematic objects from America's past. They are derogatory, anti-black objects in the main. They're newspaper articles, they're print adverts, they are knickknacks, things for the home, mammy jars, they are photographs, they are postcards, they're difficult postcards, they're problematic images, or they are postcards documenting people who've been lynched. And he would find these things in flea markets, in yard sales, and he would buy them to take them out of circulation, right? So he'd buy them and say, who wants these things in their home? Who wants to show them? I'm going to buy them. I'm going to put them away. And so when he collected these objects, more than 40,000 of these different individual objects, he was storing them in his home, and his children were saying, "Dad, this is too much stuff here. What are you going to do with it all?" And he contacted the Astor Gates and the Rebuild Foundation, and they housed those objects. So these objects that were made for sort of white amusement have been brought under black care, and to see how they're treated. When you see them at first, part of you thinks, shouldn't all these be just on a bonfire somewhere?
Right.
But of course, they are evidence of a particular kind of thinking, and they are evidence of how widespread and normal, and across the whole country and across many parts of Europe as well, this thinking was. So they're really, really important historic artifacts, and some of them are ambiguous. Some work involved black artists' drawings, and so it's all there. And then there's art on the wall, there's the Astor sculptures on the wall. When I went there, I saw a Nick Cave sound suit hanging up, the visual artist who I love. So I went there just to look around as a tourist. When I left, all I could do was just think about all this stuff, these drawers I'd opened and these photographs. Who's this girl, this little black girl that's going west with this white family of pioneers in the 1850s? Who is she? What became of her? Who's this beauty queen I'm reading about? I just wanted to get back into the room, to read those books, to open those drawers. And I did. I went for a residency there for 2 weeks, and then I just continued my relationship with her over 7 years, visiting the building, reading the books, being around the events. There's programming there. There's dance classes, there's yoga lessons, there's prayer meetings, there's celebrations, there's huge amounts of art exhibitions. So it just for me became, and sort of still is, the center of the world, and a huge center obviously for black thinking, especially Chicago, with being the number one destination from people moving from the South, the biggest internal migration that's ever happened in a country. So I didn't know all that stuff about Chicago. and I know so much more about Chicago now, and just about a wider sort of African diaspora and experience, which obviously is my history. You know, my dad's from St. Kitts in the Caribbean, so at the same time the West African people were brought here, they were also taken to the Caribbean. It's the same people, they're brothers and sisters. So I have a vested interest in that history and knowing more about the history as well.
Your mom's English, right? Yeah.
My mum is English. She's from Yorkshire. My dad's family are from St. Kitts and also from Antigua. So those two places.
So what was it for you as a woman and as an artist that, you know, that shook you or moved you about this? Because I mean, you know, clearly you're a conscious person. You know about our history. You went to college. You've been educated. But something about this in particular.
Well, first of all, it was the volume of Black literature that really surprised me. So I felt like as I grew up, I read Toni Morrison and Alice Walker and Frederick Douglass and, you know, the big thinkers in that world as far as I was educated, Maya Angelou. And then, but there were certain questions I'd say, I really want to know about this, or I really want to know about that. And people would say, whether it was teachers, whether it was people at the library or people at the bookshop, they would say, there just isn't information about that. They say just, it's just been lost in the sands of time. Or they'd say, there was so much lack of education, so people weren't literate and they didn't write their stories down. Or they would say, this is oral history, therefore it's passed on, but it can't be corroborated. And so I just have these huge ellipses in my information. And then to walk into that room and see 26,000 books on specific moments in Black life, mostly in America, but some in the wider parts of the world. You know, a book about the Black pioneers going into Oklahoma between 1847 and 19, you know, very, very, very specific books and specific eras. And to be able to go in, you know, that book Black Indians, which talks about the Black families and individuals who also went into Native American cultures and tribes. And so just seeing all these actual photos, like, here's some questions answered, here's some photos I haven't seen, or, you know, all the James Van Der Zee photos, which was actually Herbie Hancock, who drew my attention to those. And he sent me a book when I did this collaboration with him.
Yeah.
So just sort of seeing the massive Black middle class in America, that was a story I feel like hasn't been told much in Europe, where I am. So that was fascinating to me to see what was happening in segregated America, and how the Black middle class really, there was a prosperous seam of people. So, and Ebony magazine is a brilliant document of that, you know. So it's Black families talking to other Black families about who's the doctors, who's the lawyers, who's the judges, you know, in 1930, who's putting on art exhibitions in their home in 1940. You know, so I just wanted to see that all this stuff was happening. I felt like my image of African American, of Blackness, is 60s based, it's civil rights based, it's struggle based. So to see all this glamour and beauty and education, it was really just a sort of bathing, you know, in all of this. I just wanted to see more of it.
Corrine Bailey Rae is my guest. Let's give me an example of a song that is directly connected to one of these stories or
well, every single song on the record is inspired by an object or an event in the Arts Bank. But I can think specifically of a song that I wrote about Harriet Jacobs.
Ah, yeah.
I love Harriet Jacobs' story, and I knew of that story. And I have two American aunts. So my dad's got 4 sisters, and 2 of them came here and lived in New Jersey from the 80s. So they would send us stuff, you know, they would send us barrettes for our hair, and they would send us books with people in who looked like us, which was, you know, me and my 2 sisters. That was hard to find in England in the 80s. Or they would send us Kool-Aid. They would send us American stuff. And I remember when I was a teenager, my aunt sent me this book on early African-American classics, and it was Du Bois and Frederick Douglass and James Weldon Johnson. But there was Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl by Harriet Jacobs, and I read that first because that was the only story by a woman. And I was really struck by this sort of understanding and knowledge of enslavement from inside out. You know, this young girl who doesn't have any concept that she is an enslaved child until she's about 6 years old and her parents die. you know, the idea that that's how it will have been for every single person who was born into this system. At first you're a baby, you can't be used to anyone when you're a baby.
Right.
But then as you get older, the realization, as it is in this book, the realization that your parents aren't the only authority around you, and that you find yourself in this system, and to have the kind of internal knowledge and understanding of a person, a human being in this system. So I always have clung to Harriet Jacobs' story because she wears her humanity so deeply, and she has this master, this person who's in authority over her, and he is a violent and dangerous man. And at one point, she has some children. Harriet Jacobs has 2 children with a white man who becomes a very well-known politician. But so she has these 2 children, and this man who believes himself to be in love with her, he harms one of the children at one point, and the boy's in a coma. And Harriet Jacobs realizes she is in grave danger, her children are in grave danger, but she knows if she runs north that he'll find her and he'll bring her back, because he believes himself to be in love with her and has this obsessional, abusive relationship with her. So she decides on a plan, and one morning everyone wakes up on the plantation. She's not there. This is North Carolina in Edenton. And they think that she's gone north, and they look all around for her and they can't find her anywhere. But she hasn't gone north. She's hiding out in the crawl space above her free grandmother's storehouse. Her grandmother helps her in this plan. It's a tiny space. She can't stand up in it. She has to lie down. It's freezing cold in the wintertime and boiling hot in the summertime, and it's a wooden house. So she's able to bore this tiny hole in the side of the building that's not big enough so people can see her, but it's enough light that she can see out. She can sew by it. And she looks through that window, this tiny space, and watches her children growing up.
Mm-hmm.
She stays there till the coast is clear, and she stays in that space for 7 years.
That's such a powerful story. The song is...
Well, one day I was lying in my bed and I was thinking about what the sunset looked like for Harriet Jacobs, right, through this tiny porthole, and then how wide and how vast it must have seemed when she eventually found her freedom and went north and became an abolitionist and sent for her children. So the song is called Peach Velvet Sky.
Peach Velvet Sky. Can you play that one, Miles? Peach Velvet Sky. It's a beautiful song and a story well told.
Thank you.
Happy
I was always
Black
really
History Month,
struck. I was struck by her story.
It's an incredible story.
Yeah.
Talking with Corrine Bailey Rae, and here's a song she was just talking about.
Give ourselves into the light, and what kind of time we're painted illusion. And my heart was an empty box, the tide beat against. Peach velvet sky, I can see your peach velvet sky. Crimson violet light, I can see your peach velvet sky.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The thing no one tells you about periods is that your flow changes every day, and so should your tampon size. Tampax has 5 absorbencies to match your changing flow. If it hurts to remove, go down a size. If it leaks, go up a size. Only Tampax has a leak guard braid to help give you up to 100% leak and odor-free protection. All-day comfort and protection for under $5 a month. Based on average U.S. consumer usage at manufacturer suggested price. However, pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer. Excludes 8-count.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Talking with Corrine Bailey Rae, who happens to be one of my favorite artists. I mean, I really am happy, so grateful that you came into the studio. So are the folks in the chat room. You're getting a lot of love and a lot of kudos for coming in, supporting KBLA. And the work that you've done, I mean, this was 7 years from the time you hit this museum space to, well, really, I guess 6 years, because your album came out September 2023, right? Yeah, right. And all of this is processed and comes out the other side as music.
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes me a long time to make records for many reasons, I guess that. But one of them is that I really, really love doing it. And with this record, you know, I want it to go back. I want it to explore. And one thing led me to another. So at one point I was reading Ebony magazine from 1953. So they put all the ebonies together. And everything's treated with so much care and elevation. So all the Ebony magazines, you know, they're bound in leather and it's gold embossed up the side. So I reached for 1953. And opened it up and saw this incredible 17-year-old beauty queen who was hanging off, this black woman hanging off the back of a fire engine in fireman's boots and a bathing suit. And I just thought, who is this woman? And she had this kind of smile to her. She just looked like this kind of hellraiser, you know. And I thought, who is she? And I saw that she was called Audrey Smaltz. And I thought, just out of interest, let me research this person. And I typed her name in to Google. And it was very, very easy to find her because she'd remained a person in the public eye right up to now. She's in her 80s now, Audrey Smaltz.
Wow.
But she had gone on to be the announcer for the Ebony Fashion Fair. So when Ebony Fashion Fair would take to the stage, there would be a woman who would say, you know, he is wearing a 3-piece green vintage velvet suit for spring, you know, and it would be her, it would be Audrey Smaltz. And they had a little band that would go and play, you know, a 3-piece band. And I loved that Mrs. Johnson, at this particular moment in history when people are saying there's so much happening with black people and you're flying to Paris to buy couture to bring it back to put on these shows, and she said it's important for people to be able to see themselves on this stage. They also raise millions of dollars for the historically black universities and colleges. But I love that perspective that, you know, housing was important and food is important and voters' rights are important, but also freaking fur and long gloves and style and self-empowerment and elegance were really important. And the queues would be around the blocks of these black maids who were impeccably dressed, who wanted to go and see these models parade down the catwalk, and then they might buy, you know, a lipstick or a powder puff, and they would be there in their fur coats that they had worked hard to buy. And I really, the dignity of black people, and especially, you know, black women and black women in labor, you know, that so many people in my family are, you know, have done that factory work, that how, you know, working in a home. That was my grandmother's work. Was she was away from St. Kitts and went to work in another part of the Caribbean in someone's home, you know, to look after their space. And so I think about these women who make these big decisions and still have this real dignified and core, you know. To me, that's so much of what blackness is to me, and that's so much of what I receive, you know. It's like courage, understanding, depth, deportment, elegance, glamour.
Well, I mean, I one of the reasons I laughed is because I saw you playing guitar in some culottes, and I was like, you know, that's exactly what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, so it was that song, but when I saw that image, you know, that kind of 50s image, it really reminded me of the Riot Girl posters of the 90s, you know. So I would see, I mean, I guess the main attraction to me was that I'd seen loads of images like this, but never of a black woman, right? So I might have seen Betty Page in a tiger thing, or, you know, all these cheesecake kind of 50s images, but I'd never seen it with a black woman before. And it really reminded me of these 90s indie posters, which would be then subverting the 50s imagery. You know, it might be a 50s woman washing a plate, looking forlorn, and it would say, like, forget the dishes, come out tonight and see, you know, this wild band at 9 p.m. And so as soon as I saw it, I just got into that New York Transit Queen, New York Transit Queen.
Yeah, we played that earlier. It's so fun.
Oh, thank you.
So time flies really fast when you're on the radio. We got about a minute left. Gosh. I hope people will pick up Black Rainbows. it really is a whole journey. There's jazz, there's rock, punk,
all
soul.
sorts, and funk. You know, we've got this track Black Rainbows. You can play a little bit of that, but I really wanted to explore sort of squelchy funk. It's an instrumental, so we can talk right over it. But yeah, I really liked the idea of being free. You know, when they started, it was a side project. I thought, I'm not going to put it out under my name because I don't want to. I'm already going along, and people know who I am. And I thought, after a while, well, actually, this is who I am. This is another aspect of who I am. And I think it's really important as artists, and especially as black artists, to sort of unshackle from that kind of commercial and branding of self. You know, no artists are objects. No artists are commercial packages. Every artist is free. I think modeling freedom is the most important thing to do as a music maker.
I love that. No artists are packages. Well, I thank you so much for coming in. This is Black Rainbows right here. And I hope folks will, I'll be there at the Wallace. I'm going to come see you. Yeah, so I hope folks will come out to see you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Tavis Smiley is up next. I'm Dominique DiPrima. History is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.